Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Here again to do another part of the using up stash craft with me series that I've been running. So if you've been following along, we've obviously been completing this journal, which the intention is to do this as a giveaway. I did explain last time that the giveaway now won't be for a few weeks because obviously the summer's coming and going to be super busy and things like that. So yeah, this will be a giveaway, but not for a few weeks. So I'll just kind of mention that again. So obviously last time we did the cover and we did one or two more embellishments to go in here. So it's filling up nicely now. So I thought we'll just do one or two more pieces today and we might get gluing a couple of things in. We'll see how we get on. So if I just move it to kind of one side for a moment. I did kind of pre-prepare a little bit so that I wasn't kind of taking up quite so much of your time today, just kind of thinking about what to do. So what I thought we'll do, I rather like including little kind of fold out booklets in journals. So what I've done is obviously folded up this little piece here to use as a kind of, you know, fold out kind of flip out piece. And then what we'll do, we'll just kind of, you know, mark it with the bone folder so that it's really nicely kind of folded down. And then what I thought we'd do is I've brought along obviously some lace that we've been using throughout the journal so that it all coordinates and ties in nicely. So before I put the lace on, I'm going to just literally round the corners with the corner rounder. There we go. And obviously it's going to just flip out like that. So what we'll do, we'll just glue the lace trim down kind of like this. So I'm just going to use my hot glue, which I've had plugged in, warming up before I obviously switched on to be filming, just because I'm aware that obviously, you know, some of these videos are quite lengthy, so I'm just kind of trying to cut down on how much time of yours that I'm taking up really. So we'll just do that like that and then just trim that off at the edge like that. Okay, so that looks quite pretty. Now what I've done, because as you know, I was kind of having a little bit of a panic using up so much of that gorgeous paper pad. But I've had, well, a couple of things have happened. So firstly, you may recall if you watch my videos quite a bit that a while ago I've done a haul video of some Kaiser Craft goodies that I've bought. Now one of these packs, I think it was this one here, which I can't actually see a name. Oh, Miss Betty, it was called, Miss Betty. I just happened to kind of glance through these and I noticed that it had a few things that I thought coordinated quite nicely with the sewing theme of the Tilda range. So it had like these little buttons. It had this, which just says just a little note. So I know that's obviously not sewing themed, but I thought it went quite nicely. And then it had these, these few pieces here, all of which I just thought coordinated really nicely with the bits and bobs that we've been using. So I thought I would bring them along. It also had a little sewing machine, obviously much smaller than the Tilda items that we have used, but again, the same theme, so I thought quite good. And it had some little scissors. So that's going to kind of eke out you know, things a little bit further. So that was the first thing that I had that was quite lucky. Now the second thing that happened was I was flicking through the book again, the Tilda paper pad again, and I don't know how I'd missed this, but kind of wedged into one of the pages were some popped out bits that I've obviously popped out previously. So there happened to be, you know, quite a few really nice bits in there. So I thought, wow, that was pretty lucky. Because obviously then I've got extra bits that I can just then pop in and you know, use then kind of extra, where I was kind of beginning to think, oh no, you know, I haven't really got any other kind of bits and bobs left in the pad, and obviously that was kind of causing me a bit of panic. So yeah, I thought that was pretty cool and pretty exciting. So that was my first piece of, or my second piece of good luck. So anyway, that said, we'll obviously crack on with doing the flip out that we're working on here. So what I thought we'll do is to kind of have a little closure. We will just use this kind of card piece from the Kaisercraft, and then I will also kind of pop some buttons on here. So like that. You'll have to excuse, my home phone is ringing, and it was my mobile that was ringing just now, which is very annoying because it never ever rings, and just typically it's phoning, you know, ringing now that I'm doing a video. And because I'm doing this on my iPad, obviously I don't know how to join these videos, as I've kind of said that before. So I'm just going to literally type my husband a text saying doing a video, because hopefully then he will stop phoning. I'm sure it's nothing urgent, but obviously, yeah, I don't know how to kind of join the video, so I don't want to obviously have to stop it. Right, so what I'm going to do is just pop this one on here. My glue's a little bit cloggy. Wipe that off on some paper that I've got to the side. So like that. Okay, so that's that piece there. And then I thought the buttons would look quite pretty just running along the bottom there. And then obviously the other pieces that we've done in this journal have been quite flowery, so we might just add a flower. Just going to kind of look at one or two of the pieces that I have done, just to kind of bring myself back, because I obviously haven't worked on this since we last did this video. Obviously, you know, I have worked on other things in the meantime, so it's quite good to kind of get a bit of a refresher going, because you know, you kind of forget what types of things that you've done, don't you? So yeah, we could obviously add a little flower somewhere just to kind of, you know, keep it in the style of what we've been doing so far in this book. So I'll just pop these buttons down, and I'm just using obviously the wet glue for the paper pieces here. So these little pieces that I'm using from those Kaisercraft packs, they're the first things I've used from those packs, would you believe? So I've had them for all that time, and these are the first things that I've actually used the packs for. So that's yeah, also kind of a move forward for me. So I've just got some tissue here, so I'll just dab that to make sure it's not coming out. And then we'll just pop a flower. We could have the flower up there, or I quite like it with the button actually. So I'll pop that on like that. So I'm just going to leave that kind of to one side to dry. So that's the first piece that we've obviously made today. So the next piece, I have been using obviously these images of these ladies. So I've got this piece here, which we could cut her out and use her. Like this. There we go. Now, I haven't quite decided what I'm going to do with her yet, so, you know, this really is a kind of playing around video. I've normally been doing these videos on a Monday, but unfortunately was busy this Monday, so I didn't have a chance to do it on my usual time that I would kind of have set aside. So that's thrown me slightly. So I'm now doing, obviously, the video today. And obviously, yes, going forward, I'm not quite sure kind of how much time there's going to be kind of on the other weeks, but I have been trying to do a couple of other videos to upload kind of over the summer, so that I'm kind of keeping up, you know, with my channel. So hopefully kind of that's going to all pan out quite well. Now I just wondered whether we could do this piece as a kind of cluster at all, or we might be better off doing a smaller cluster. So I also didn't show you, these were also in with the Kaiser Craft. So again, I thought these were quite appropriate. This is kind of a little card with different stitches. So just perfect, I thought, for this journal. So actually, I'm going to put her to one side for a moment. We'll just kind of have a little play with making a little kind of cluster from these bits and bobs. Oops. Things are going underneath my table here. Yes, it's you know, it's kind of getting busy now for you know, the kids finishing school and things like that, and it's all annoying because it's just cutting into valuable crafting time. So I've got this blue lace which we've been using, so I might chop a little piece of this off to possibly have on this cluster somewhere. So I might just chop, or not chop, tear that top bit off, because I wasn't over keen on it having kind of the top part of the book. That looks quite pretty, doesn't it? And then we could just have a flower. Got the light on here. I don't know whether that was necessary. There are a lot of necessaries in that sentence. I don't know whether I actually needed it today, but I thought I would have it on just in case. So it's now shining in my eyes while I'm rummaging through my little tin, you know, that I like to bring along to my videos. So yes, I'll have to just move it slightly because it was kind of blinding me a little bit. So we could have it like that. That's kind of cute, isn't it? So we'll just stick this one on here. So I've been working on some other bits and bobs. I've completed another journal, which I've done a process video for to upload over the summer. So I'm not going to list that in my shop or do a flip through of it until I've done, you know, uploaded the process video, because that might be a bit strange to obviously, you know, put it in my shop and then have the process video afterwards. So that's one that I've done. It's quite similar to the journal that I've made for my travel journal for our trip, which again, I've done a video of a flip through of that, but obviously I haven't uploaded that just yet. So it's basically from a children's book. It's an altered book and it's using a children's book. And I've tried, my goal with both of them were to leave lots and lots and lots of room for journaling and not go so crazy with the embellishing, which obviously is a struggle for me, you know, because obviously I cannot stop myself. I love, love, love adding, you know, tons of things onto the pages. So yes, that was a kind of challenge really on both of them. But I had fun, and you know, I'm really pleased with them because I love using the kids' books because they are just such a great way to be able to use colour. And if you again have seen my videos before, you might know that I'm a bit of a fan of colour and really love using colourful things. So it was really nice and really fun to, you know, use some of those children's books, and obviously really nice to again be able to use some things from my stash, which is kind of growing bigger and bigger all the time. So yeah, that was kind of quite good. I mean, I say using my stash, I mean, it's obviously not even made a dent, you know, as I'm sure that you all understand, that we all have all these tons and tons of things, and actually to use any of it up is takes a long time. I mean, this series that I've been doing here, well, there's a couple of problems. Firstly, obviously I've, you know, almost done an entire journal, and I still have obviously lots of the book left. So that's the first thing, is although it was using up stash, it really hasn't used up a great deal of it. But the second problem obviously is that as I get closer to using the journal, I start going into panic mode of not then wanting to use the stash. So it's a kind of double-edged sword really. But I was going to say the journals that I've just completed have used entire kids books. The one for my travel journal definitely hasn't, because I used a really big book, used images from a really big book, so definitely that used, you know, 2 pages or something worth of images, like literally hardly any. And then the other one, that was using a very tiny book, so it has used a lot of the images, but I have still got a lot of images in there, so you know, it hasn't used a great deal. Right, so that's a little cluster. So if you recall, we made you know, a little cluster before, so that's that one, and obviously this is the new one that we've made. So I'm just going to pop that again to one side to kind of leave it to dry. I should pull this item back in that we cut out just now. Trying to decide now how to use this, or what to do with this. Oh, my imagination is kind of running dry a bit now. So I'm just having a little flick through the journal. I'll put it in frame so that we can do that together. So it's a bit more interesting than just watching my arm flicking through. Just having a bit of a recap of what we have done so far. So, okay. So we haven't really done many things that are kind of belly band-ish, you know, belly band type shapes. So perhaps we could do another one of them using this. So I'll put that there. Then I have some more of this paper which I could use. That might be quite nice going off to the side. I'm just kind of using up you know, things that are kind of just laying around really, because every time that I finish this you know, the episode, I just literally pile all of the stuff in one pile and I leave it. I do not touch it or anything until I do the next episode. You know, it just stays in the pile so it's all together and I can just grab it and obviously bring it down to kind of do the video. So I'm using scraps, but scraps from things that we have used, if that makes sense. So they're not just random scraps from, you know, my stash. They are scraps from the things we've been using. So we've got that. So I quite liked that hanging off to the side. I thought that made it a little bit different and a bit kind of fun. And then obviously we can decorate that up with a few bits and bobs. I've got this little banner again from the Craft things. So I'll just trim those little bits off. Although these come as die cuts, they've got sometimes those little, you know, these things. I don't know what you call those. No, I don't think you can see them on the camera, but you know where you tear them out, the little bits that attach them to the paper. So just kind of playing around really here. That might be quite nice like that. And then we've used these gorgeous purple flowers in a few places. So just cut one of those off. So talking of the Craft pieces, now I've mentioned those a few times. I absolutely love them. And, you know, love them to the point that obviously then I can't bring myself to use them. So what I've also been doing, I've completed the couple of journals, and I've also completed another different couple of journals, kind of the envelope soft cover journals, which hopefully I will upload the videos today and tomorrow, hopefully, of those, and they will be in my shop. But also I've been working on some more digital items. Sorry, I'm just now debating what to stick where. I've also been working on a couple more digital items, and what I've tried to do with, it's going to be a complete kit. I'm calling it Gypsy Rose. It's going to have lots of gypsy caravans, you know, vintage gypsy caravans, things like that in it, and I've used some fabric as a background and things like that. And what I thought I would do is actually include lots and lots and lots of flowers and elements and things like that that you can cut out, because if I just bring these back, what I love about these, and I used these obviously in my Old Mother Goose series, I love all these flowers, and you know, obviously it's kind of heartbreaking to use them from these packets. So what I thought I would do is, in my latest kit that I'm working on, and hopefully kind of get it done shortly, is include lots of flowers that you can fussy cut out, and then you've got elements like this, because they just, every time you put them anywhere, they just look fantastic. So that's what I'm trying to do with that kit. I've incorporated things like some vintage trunks, you know, suitcase type items and things like that. So hopefully you're going to have a ton of things that you will be able to, you know, cut out and use as per the Craft, you know, die cut packs. I think they call them collectibles, that you'll be able to kind of use like that, which I thought would be really fun. No need to hoard them, because obviously you can just print out more. Yeah, so that's kind of how I thought I would try and do that. And that's not very straight, is it? Now it seems to be really stuck down, which is slightly annoying. Yeah, so I thought that would be really nice, is to have kind of a ton of, you know, shaped elements. So yeah, I'm trying to toy with other kind of options, you know, whether or not I could actually kind of make some and cut them out and sell them in packs. But to be honest, much as I absolutely love fussy cutting, that might just be too ambitious, because I mean, obviously fussy cutting does take quite a long time, doesn't it? And I'm not really too sure how that would go, you know, because obviously it would take such a long time. It wouldn't be, you know, cost effective in any way, you know, for those people buying it probably to buy mine, or obviously, you know, cost effective from the point of view of my time, which that just sounds really mercenary, I know, but I mean, obviously you do have to factor these things in, because, you know, unfortunately that's kind of how the world is, isn't it? That, you know, you kind of gotta I've got to factor it in to some extent. So not sure about that zip. So I'll just stick the lace along the top. Anyway, I was just kind of toying with that as an idea because I did think, wow, wouldn't that be exciting if I could actually have kind of my own little packets of, you know, die cut items, just like the Casecraft ones, because they are kind of such a, you know, such a favourite thing of mine. But anyway, we'll see. But if not, you know, I thought, well, the second best option is obviously make the digital kits, but with a ton of little items to cut out, fussy cut out, and then, you know, then it's as good as having the collectible packs, you know, other than the fact that you obviously have to cut them out yourself. But, you know, as crafters, I think most of us quite like fussy cutting anyway, so hopefully that would be fine also, wouldn't it? Right. I'm just waffling here, so don't mind me. Just kind of toying with things that, you know, kind of, yeah, that I've been playing around with ideas, and, you know, thought I'd kind of put them out there and see what people think, really. Oops, now my stomach's rumbling. It's getting towards lunchtime. Might be that this would be better on the top of the page. Just kind of pop that to one side for a moment while I just have a think. I prefer the tape measure down there, actually. Yeah, I think I prefer that. So I'm just going to cut that roughly here. And we'll just attach that to the side. Like that. Then we've got obviously the button, that gorgeous purple flower. Might look kind of nice like that. What do you think? Actually, that pink bow is kind of nice on there. So I just attach the bow, holding it by the, as I like to call them, the legs, or the stems. Just attach that like that. It's a bit cooler here today. It has been very, very, very hot. I know, obviously, compared to other countries, England is not very hot. But I just think for us, you know, we're not used to it. And so it has felt incredibly stifling. You know, so yeah, it's actually quite a relief today that it is a bit cooler. I don't know what's going on, whether we're going to have more hot weather on the way. I haven't actually heard it. I did hear this morning on the news, actually I heard it yesterday, I think yesterday afternoon, that if you've been following on the news or heard on the news about the 12 boys and their coach who were trapped in that cave in Thailand, I heard this morning that they have actually, all of them, been rescued now, which I am so incredibly relieved, because the just nightmare that it was just literally on my mind all the time. I just felt so sick. I mean, I know obviously, you know, especially one of those divers obviously that went to rescue them, you know, he died, and my heart goes out to his family. I mean, just, oh, the tragedy, you know, that one of the people that went to actually rescue them actually died. And obviously when I heard that, I just felt sick, because I just thought, well, how on earth are they going to get all those boys out if the actual diver that's been to rescue them has, you know, has been killed. So it was such a relief and such fantastic news when I heard that yesterday. I felt so thrilled. So yeah, I don't know whether anyone else has been kind of following that story, but I felt very, very, very happy when I heard that news yesterday, I must say. So what a relief. I mean, their families must have been going through hell, and those poor boys, you just can't even imagine kind of, you know, what they must have been experiencing. Right, I'm standing up now just to kind of check that I am in frame. For some reason, you know, the iPad is piled up on the books that I like to kind of pile it up for these videos, but sometimes it kind of doesn't seem as high as others, so I don't know what that's about. But today's one of those days, it doesn't really seem to be very high up. So I hope that it is high enough. So that's my cluster. I quite like that on that blue page, because it looks quite subtle and very pretty. And then I still haven't quite decided with the centre page what to do. I've tentatively put these items here. I don't know whether I'm going to necessarily stick with these two or go for something else. Actually, that looks quite pretty on there. Let's see. And that looks quite pretty on there. Let's just have a look. I'm just checking through to see what we've actually made so far. I mean, I feel like we have been going for ages, but we do still have several pages without things to go on them. So I'm just having a little look through, checking what we've got left. So at the moment we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 pages by the looks of things that have things still required. So let's have a look here. I'll just have a look and see what else we have. So obviously on this sheet we have more of these ladies that we have used obviously a few times so far. Oh, and that's that gorgeous paper again on the back. So this is the same as the image that we just used, but obviously it was a smaller version. We have used her before and we have used her. So we have these two that we could still use. So what I might do is cut this one. Oh, more cutting into that gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous paper on the rear side, which is just so pretty. It's just horrible. Horrible cutting into it. Right, let's move it to one side. So if I just check, so we've got this page which is predominantly blue, and these 3 pages here, which I'm just kind of seeing how this image would kind of look on these pages. It looks really pretty, to be honest, I think, anyway, on most of them. So we could kind of have this somewhere. Now what we could do is actually kind of just make this a very simple kind of, you know, corner tuck or something itself, because that would obviously kind of cut down on, you know, viewing time for how much more time that I can hog of a few people. So you know, we could kind of just have a bit of the zip or something like that. I mean, that's quite pretty, isn't it? So if I just cut the zip here, and then what we could do is kind of cut it into a kind of, you know, banner shape. Like that. And if we were to stick that down somewhere, and then let me just find that blue lace again. Now I've only just used it and already I can't now see it, because obviously I think in the last video I did kind of pan round and show my pile of lace that I bring for this series, and obviously I haven't added to that pile, but it is still the same pile, but obviously it's quite tangled up and kind of messy now. But the bizarre thing is I have only just used that blue, so how that's got so tangled up or mixed in, I have no idea. Ugh. Now this is just what happens when you're filming, I find. Nothing's ever quite goes to plan. Nope, I actually can't now see it unless it's slipped off. Oh, it has. It slipped onto the floor, so that's why. That's why I couldn't see it anywhere. So, I mean, we could even have a piece of lace kind of running down the side. Might be quite pretty. And we could have it straight. So, let's just pop this piece on the bottom. This, keep the diamond frame. Let me check the time. It says 36 minutes. Oops, now I've stuck the tissue onto the paper, and now I've made it very messy. It's not good, is it? I was not watching what I was doing, unfortunately. Right, I'm just going to have a sip of water because I'm getting quite thirsty. Okay. So I quite like that there, and might just literally keep this one very simple and just have just a strip of lace down the side like that. You know, no need to even have it the whole way down the page, although it does look quite pretty the whole way down. Now the problem is with that is obviously we would need to actually start gluing in, and I had said I wasn't going to start sticking things into the book. Unless I just cut it to size and leave it in there, but then I might not remember that by next time. I mean, that does look very pretty on that paper, doesn't it? Right, what I might do is actually stick this piece in. Now this will be the first piece that we've actually stuck into this journal, and I was going to do kind of an episode where we stuck everything in. So yeah, that's kind of spoiling that, you know, that fun that I was hoping it was going to be, sticking all the bits in. So perhaps I will just cut the strip of lace, because I thought that would be a really fun episode to do, is just sticking everything actually in. Right, I'm going to put that there, and what I might do is actually paper clip that in together, so that hopefully that's going to jog my memory that we actually were going to do that, you know, that it's actually going to be stuck in just on the side of the page. Right, that's that. So we've now got 3 sides left to do. So I'm running out of ideas now of what to do. Beginning to go completely blank now as to what to do. I've got these little pieces that were again in the Kaiser Craft kit, and it also had these little sewing machines. So we could make another little cluster. The clusters are, you know, quite good from the point of view that they come together quite quickly and easily. And, you know, I think the trick is don't overthink them. So that might be the best thing to do. I thought I had a little button there. You know, not a real one, but one of the ones from the paper pad, but I can't see it now. But that might be quite nice. It will come together nice and quickly, and you know, it will be another embellishment done. So let's have a look and see whether we would like some lace somewhere, just so that we kind of have it. Actually, I've got a little offcut that I just saw of some lilac. Little teeny bit that might just be just the right size. There we go. You see, never throw things away, because no matter how small, they still are useful. So let's stick the sewing machine on. I did have somebody who asked why wasn't I distressing things. Now, I did reply to the comments, and I'm really sorry, I do apologise, but I really can't remember your name, I'm afraid, if you're watching this, so I apologise for that. I do struggle with names quite a lot, I have to say. But I did reply. I mean, to be honest, I mean, I love the distress look. But equally, I don't always think things need distressing. And these papers in this Tilda paper pad are so pretty and such gorgeous colours that I actually didn't want to kind of detract from them by using, you know, inks and kind of distressing them. I thought they were just beautiful on their own and didn't want to kind of ruin them by putting the inks on and things. So that was kind of my thinking there. So I don't know whether everyone else kind of would agree with that or not. It was just my feelings really about these gorgeous papers, that I didn't want to kind of detract from them at all by inking them. Oh, that button's rather monstrous, isn't it, on there? I'm just going to literally glue the lace down. And then that will stop kind of moving. I'm kind of trying to glue it slightly to the side, or, you know, askew-if would be, I suppose, the description, so it's not kind of in a straight line. And then just decide what else to put on there. We also have that tag that we made in another one of the episodes, which I've forgotten about that one. I'll just pop that somewhere. So we'll have that kind of like this, and then that's a pretty flower, isn't it? It's got a pretty flower, pretty button. It's got a flower on it, which looks just really lovely, I think. Very pretty. I'm having obviously one of those days today, because every time I touch something, I turn my back and it's gone. Just now I had a pink flower there, and now literally I've kind of turned my back and it's gone. So let's have a rummage through and use maybe a different one. So we'll just stick this piece down like that. Now this one might take a little bit longer to obviously dry, because it's, you know, it's been stuck onto the lace as well as the card. So I'll just kind of keep that pressed down for a couple of moments while I still hunt for the pink flower, which is still nowhere to be seen because this one wasn't kind of cut in the mustard. I felt it was a little bit drab. So I'll have a rummage in my tin and see. I've got lots of bright blue ones here today, which actually they're quite nice, aren't they? They're quite pretty. I also have this tiny little kind of resin flower, if you can kind of see that. And it was actually a little bead, if you can see there. I can't even remember where it came from, but I've got a few of them. I think they were in something that I bought once for the children, kind of make your own jewellery, but I wondered whether that would go, but it's actually, when I look, it's actually quite thick and it's actually sticking up quite a bit, so probably not. Got these little bows. Which they're quite pretty. Which actually I would quite like to use one of those bows, but maybe not on that page because otherwise it's taking on a bit too much green. But I do love it against that lilac on that page. That looks really lovely. So again, I won't remember that when we come to actually glue things down, but I might just leave it wedged in there. I might remember it. I probably won't, but I might do. Still having a look for a pink flower, which I still cannot see that one, can you believe? But I do have another one which is polka dot. Now whether or not the polka dot is a bit much, I'm not sure. And then I've got my bag of buttons. I'll see if I have a smaller button, because obviously that one that I tried just now was rather huge on there. I think all of these look quite big actually too, so that's a bit of a shame, isn't it? I thought I'd seen a smaller one, but actually it's still not really small enough. That's a pretty one, isn't it? We've got that little one, but they're not really small enough, so we'll have a look and see. I'm sure that they're quite small enough, to be honest. I'm just kind of wondering where this cluster is going to sit, because otherwise it might look a little bit kind of plain. Maybe like that would be quite nice. So let's glue this pink flower on, because that's really nice and bright and, you know, a nice kind of splash of colour. So again, I'll just use the hot glue for this one because it's nice and instant. The button's kind of texturized on one side and not on the other. Is that too big? That's the question. I think it probably is. In which case I'd have to go with kind of a pearl centre, unless I've got another smaller button. That's quite a small one. That's in my tin. That's quite nice. So if I have it upside down, so I'll glue it kind of upside down, kind of takes on a smaller appearance somehow. If that makes any sense at all. I'll just pop that down like that. And then, yeah, I quite like it with the pink running down the side, and maybe we could pop a couple of buttons kind of on like that. That would look really pretty. So what I'm going to do, again, I'm going to cut this lace in the hopes that I remember what I've said to do on here. Obviously I can't leave those buttons on there because they, you know, will drop out when I move the book when I'm finished, but I'll just kind of paper clip that on like that. So now I think we've just got the final 2 pages to do. So let me check the time. 50 minutes. I don't think we're going to achieve two sets of embellishments in the space of 10 minutes, and I try not to go too much over an hour because I think some people quite like the longer videos. I'm not sure that everybody does, and obviously I am aware that it's a very big amount of time to take from people. Yeah, so I'm not sure that we're going to have time to actually do the final couple of embellishments. I'll just have a flick through and see whether we could do anything really quickly. I'm not sure I can be quick enough, that's the problem. I did bring along this little card. I picked up these cards from a car boot sale, and they were a variety of different patterns. This one, if the camera's picking it up, it's very pale polka dot blue, which I just chucked this on the pile as I brought it all into my son's bedroom this morning, because I thought, oh, that might actually go quite well on this journal as well. So I'm just wondering, no, no, I don't think that's going to work either. Well, unless we make another one of those kind of flip kind of things, but then that's not quite right on that side of the page, if that makes sense. Unless we pop that tag there, that might be quite nice. This is why I haven't glued things down. There is method in my madness, because it is really nice to have the ability to kind of alter things around when you kind of not too sure, you know, of how you want things. So I was just wondering whether we could have this as another one of those kind of, you know, fold up pieces, which I quite like those. Let's take another look, see what we have here. I'm just having a rummage through the paper items that are sat beside me, so sorry that I'm being incredibly rude there, just kind of flicking through things off camera, but I can't really drag my pile of things into frame because it would be at the risk of kind of spilling everything and knocking everything onto the floor, so that's why I'm kind of doing it off the screen really. So obviously we have got that mason jar that I said that I found another one of. That might be quite nice on there. So let's just neaten that up where it's been torn out. Right, let's go for this quickly, but I really don't think we'll be able to do the last one, which is a shame, isn't it? Right, that's not very straight. Unless I can be really quick, but I don't think I'm going to be able to be quick enough. Might even have them that way round. It's nice to be able to play around, you know, before you've glued the things in. So let me just paper clip this on so that it stops moving while I'm actually, you know, still working on this page, because that's a bit annoying otherwise, and it keeps slipping down. So if we were to pop this here, Again, I'm just rummaging through my little pile. I thought I had bought some vintage book page, but now I'm having a look, I can't seem to see any. No, I can't see any more. Right. But we do have obviously more tape measure, so, or measure tape. I'm not sure whether ever you call it tape measure or measure tape, but I do have more. So we could just kind of cluster a few items on there. Also found this just laying around and I just chucked that on the pile because I thought maybe that might go somewhere. I'm just still having a look through, so I'm not doing anything exciting. You're really not missing anything by me not doing it on screen. Just check nothing has slipped onto my board. Right. Look at that pink lace. Oh gosh, isn't that pretty? I just sometimes just think, wow, just adding a little tiny bit of lace just anywhere instantly looks just gorgeous, doesn't it? There's just something about the lace that just looks really pretty instantly. You know, I think, don't know what everyone else thinks, but I just love it. Also had this little butterfly in the Case Craft pack, which I know this is a kind of sewing theme, but I thought the colours were just perfect for this, so that's quite nice there. And I have got some of the my stamped images here, so I'm just going to cut one of these out. Because this might be quite nice to kind of just tie it in a bit onto there somewhere. Okay. Now I often quite like using these, just cutting them in half. Obviously if I don't, then I can always cut another one, but let me just try that like that. And I think that looks quite pretty. And then just kind of finish it off at the top. Once it was glued in, we could have some lace running just across the top. Looks quite pretty. So let's get gluing. Let's not waste any more time today. Let's just be let's be daring. Glue some bits down. Well, not glue them down in the journal. Let's not be that daring. That would be a bit too much for me, I think. But let's be a little bit daring. So we'll just glue this measure tape piece down. Then we'll pop that there. Like that. Okay. Butterfly on there, and then we might be able to add a flower. I've got this little one here that I'll just pick this apart. I never did manage to find the bright pink one that I have just now, so maybe it's under the desk, maybe it dropped on the floor. Or it might be stuck, you know, on my cardigan now. Sometimes that happens, doesn't it? Things kind of attach themselves to your sleeves and things. And then I kind of go out and someone says, oh, you've got a flower stuck on your arm, or you've got lace stuck on your skirt, you know. Now I can't see what I'm doing because that light is just glaring, and this is obviously not very close to me because I'm trying to kind of keep it in frame. Oh gosh, I might have just literally destroyed this particular flower, I think. Oh, come on, come apart. Right. Okay. Got there in the end. Okay. So we could have that kind of like that. So I'm just going to literally stick this glue down. I'll use the wet glue because then I can kind of stick onto the lace. Like that. I have got my card, so I could just kind of press it with my card. So if we were to have it like that, and then a little bit of lace at the top, looks pretty, doesn't it? So we'll just have the mason jar off to the side rather than looking as if it's in the centre, because you know, I don't really want it to kind of look like that. It's strange, isn't it? Because I used to like everything centred, but I think they look better off centre, to be honest. Okay. Right, that's that. And then we'll just pop a little butterfly down. Doesn't really matter where the butterfly goes, maybe just there. Looks pretty. And then we'll just pop that little flower. Just there. And then I will just run the lace, just move that to one side, just across here. Ready. Okay. Okay, that looks pretty, doesn't it? So that can go either on that page, or we might decide on a different page for it. But you know, that's kind of there ready. So unfortunately, I really feel very thirsty now and things, so I'm going to have to kind of call it quits for this episode, I think. So we're at 1 hour 3 minutes. So we'll stop here, and then obviously I'll come back to do the last you know, embellishment piece for the last page, which I think is this one, and then hopefully either in that episode or obviously shortly after that episode we will get gluing some bits and bobs into the journal. So I'm really looking forward to that episode. That, you know, is going to be really fun, I think. Oh look, there's that pink flower. So yeah, I'm looking forward to doing that, and yeah, I hope that you kind of all were able to do some crafting today along whilst I was doing this video, and see you again for the next one. Thanks very much. Bye.